Hey guys, so let's continue with the Rain of Arrows ability. And since we already have a target area that moves when you move your mouse, all we have to do now is set up like small functionalities like correct gameplay tags and actually firing the ability and also preventing the movement. And then we can set up the actual Niagara system for raining arrows and then collision and damage. So first thing, let's go to ability component. At the moment we have added this tag which is raining arrows, but we have not added is executing ability 1, so it doesn't prevent any other abilities or attacks or anything else being executed. So what we need to do is just get owner, or just copy this set gameplay tag, paste it from the owner and just add it before, and this one will be is executing ability, just because on the bow we have done the exception and we're not setting it here directly, so we need to do it separately. And now we are executing ability and setting gameplay tag. We just want to disable the movement, so to do that we can get it from character movement, and we will set disable, just disable movement, and this will stop the character from moving completely. But what we want to do is we still want to rotate, rotate depending on where we're actually aiming. So to do that, there is a variable only on the player. It's not in the character movement, so we need to access the player. You could either do interface function and just, set it from there, but I don't want to create another interface function, so I'm just going to, from the owner, I'm going to cast to player, and from the player, again, I'm going to move this whole ability just down a bit and here, so I got more space. And then here after this cast, from the player we need to access use controller rotation yaw, this one here, and we're going to enable it. Enable it here. Alright, so this will make character rotate. So now if you check it out and pick up some arrows, equip the bow. I imported a new icon for Rain of Arrows as well already, just so you're not confused. And then now you can see that I'm rotating, but if I press WSAD, I'm not able to move. I'm just standing on one spot. So that's working fine. And now we actually want to fire this ability when we press left mouse button. So to do that, we will go to ability component first. We need to create custom event. It could be a function, but we need to do some things like delay and accessing a variable, so that it won't work if it's a function. We need to do event. So we will right click, create custom event, and this one will be spawn Rain of Arrows, or execute Rain of Arrows, up to you. Spawn Rain of Arrows. And what we want to do here, first thing, we will play montage. We need to get the skeletal mesh component, so we have it here somewhere. Get it, copy it, and paste it. This is what gets the skeletal mesh with the tag, and play it on that skeletal mesh component. And here we'll do bow fire up montage, which we set up in a previous video. So that's the one that is aiming up and firing the bow. And then on execution pin directly, what we want to do is get owner, and we want to remove gameplay tag, which will be character checks is raining arrows. This one here. The reason why we're removing it directly while this montage is still playing is because if you were pressing left mouse button and trying to fire this rain of arrows, you would be able to reset this montage. So it will be just playing the first bit and you can keep clicking the left mouse button. So that's why we're removing the raining arrows. And then on completed, we also want to do this part. So get this whole thing, copy it, paste it, and from the owner we'll get player, there we go. And we also need to get component by class, which is movement component, from the owner as well, and connect it to these two. And these two we need to switch around, So turn it off, turn it on, and this one turn off as well. So this will basically enable the movement or stop strafing, but it doesn't enable the movement, and there is no enable movement function. So what we need to do is from the movement component we need to set the movement mode and set it to walking. Compile and save. And after we also want to remove the ability tag when it's completed. So get these two, copy, paste, and remove tag is executing ability. There we go. Now in the player, compile this, go to player, and in combat, on the left mouse button, you probably don't have one of these branches if you don't have the charging ability from the Patreon, so just ignore this, don't worry about that. But we're just going to set up one more branch here, and this time we can copy this tag or get it again from gameplay tags, and we're going to check if we are raining arrows. And basically if we are raining arrows, that means we're aiming and we have that target area, and if it's true, we want to just call from ability component spawn raining arrows, which will execute that ability. If it's false, we'll just continue here. Alright, compile and save, and this should already work. So when you press play, pick up the bow, pick up some arrows, equip the bow and equip the ability, press 1, and now I press left mouse button, firing, and it cancels it, and I can move normally, but I can move here. Area is still there, obviously it spawns that area there. So what we want to do is we want to hide it and then destroy it. So in the ability component here, right after, in this spawn rain of arrows, we're going to get target area reference, and we're going to do set hidden in game, set actor hidden in game, or you can do set visibility and hide it. The reason why we're hiding it and not destroying it is because we will be using its location when we spawn the Niagara system. So if you'd have destroyed it, it would be not valid when we're spawning the system. Okay, so this will destroy it. And now there is one more adjustment I want to do, and that is this target area. If you have your own landscape, I'm going to quickly create new level and show you. So new level, open world, and then I'm going to get my blueprints, items, interactable item, and this one will be golden bow and iron arrow. Sorry, one more thing. We need to, so on the landscape, you have to enable that ground blocking collision. So search for collision on the landscape. There is block all by default. You need to do custom one. And then here the ground needs to be blocking, otherwise the area won't spawn. And I don't need to save it actually. Just play the game, equip the bow and an arrow. And now if I start aiming, I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but the area is flickering and it's not working very well. Sometimes it jumps to different position and it just doesn't look very nice and smooth. And the reason for that is, at least what I think it is just because landscape is really thin in general, and we fire the visibility trace, and if the visibility trace hits the ground, then from there it's trying to trace down to look for the ground, and maybe sometimes it passes the ground. At least that's what I think it is. So to prevent this and make it nice and smooth, even when there are hills or anything else, we need to go to ability component. We do have this line trace arrow, and here from this impact point we're going to add to it 100 to the Z. So the first visibility trace, wherever it hits, if it hits the ground, then we will add 100 Z value, so 100 up to the impact point, and then it will trace down to the ground, so it will have easier time actually finding the ground. So this will go to true. And then one more thing we can do is in the event graph, in the tick, here when we line tracing the area and then set actor location, we'll do branch, And inside this, sorry, go back to line trace arrow. We will connect this return value as well. So if it hits something, and then here we'll connect it. So if it hits something, only then we're going to change the actor location. If the ground trace didn't hit anything, we will leave the actor location where it is. Compile and save. And now, if you have a custom landscape, it should be all smooth. There we go. No weird jumps or anything. Just works much nicer. Okay. Firing and area is disappearing. So that's working fine. Except for the area is meant to disappear. Probably not on completed, but on execution pin. So where am I? Event graph, spawn, rain of arrows, this one here. Completed remove tag. This one may be set actor hidden in game. I'm going to disconnect it and I'm going to hide it as soon as we fire the arrow. Alright, so now we just need to create the Niagara system, but first let's create the custom arrow. There will be a reason for that, I will explain it, but we don't want to use the arrows that we already have. So if you go to third person meshes, find your arrow, whatever arrow you have, and we're going to duplicate it, Control and D. And this one will be, I'll just call it the rain of arrow, as a single rain of arrow, whatever, something like that. Rain of arrow SM, and I'm also going to create material for it because I want to change the color. This will be the color that will be used in the Niagara system. So in materials, I'm going to right click, create new material, and this one will be base color underscore M. This will just be a simple color material. So we will hold 3 on the keyboard, click, and connect this to base color. And also on this material node, select two-sided, just in case you have some wings on the arrow like me and they are not two-sided, you won't be seeing it from the one side. So apply and save. Then, sorry, let's convert this to parameter, and this one will be color. And then I'm going to right click, create material instance, and I'll just name it red color material instance, and one more which will be, I'm actually going to leave it as it is, black color material instance. So red color, I will change this color to red, something like this maybe. This will be the wing of the arrow, and the arrow itself will just be black. So now if we go back to where we created the arrow in meshes, arrow and rain of arrow SM, I'm going to change this wingtip to red color and regular arrow to black color. Okay, this static mesh is a little bit weird. I can't see it for whatever reason, but then if I drag it out in the game, so this is what it will look like a nice arrow, red tip and black arrow. And one more thing we need to do is, so drag it into the game, and then let's go to modeling tools, and we need to change the pivot point. So this is why we're mostly creating the custom arrow, is because where the pivot point is, that's where the arrow will handle collision. So if we left it as it is now and arrows would be raining down, it would go through the landscape and stick only here, so it would be under the landscape, you wouldn't see it. So what we need to do is Xform, edit pivot, and we need to move pivot left, no, that's not left, back. Okay, so move pivot to back to the tip of the arrow, but I want to arrow also to stick to the ground a little bit. I don't want it to be just on a tip, that would look weird. So I'm going to move it somewhere here, like halfway through the tip. Okay, maybe like that, and accept. So this one will be my new arrow. Save it. It's trying to save this map, so I'm going to go back to my map. Oh, it's still trying to save it, doesn't matter. So save it. And back in my map now, we can create Niagara system. So let's go to third person, effects, right click, Niagara system, and we will do directional burst, create. And this one we will call rain of arrows underscore ns for Niagara system. Open it up. And this one comes already with the location based ribbon, which is great because we want to have the ribbon on all of our arrows that are raining down. So we will leave it as it is. One thing I'm going to change is on emitter, on initialize particle, I'm going to change lifetime to only like 0.2 maybe, because otherwise when the arrow hits the ground it will still draw a ribbon and then it doesn't look good. So you want to do 0.2, like a very short time. And then here in the directional burst instead, we need to do emitter state. This is fine. Spawn burst, we're going to change the spawn count to like 40. That will be 40 arrows. Then sprite renderer we will delete, add new one, and we will add mesh renderer. And here in the meshes we will select our new rain of arrow static mesh. Select the index here. You can see they are falling sideways, so we need to change the rotation. I think it's the second one, 90, no, minus 90. So they are falling downwards. Okay, so this is fine. We don't have to change material or anything else. Now, as you can see, they're still going sideways, and that is just because we do have this add velocity to the inner cone. So we're going to delete it, and instead we're just going to add velocity. And on this add velocity, what we want to do is we want to keep it at linear, but here we're going to select this one and add random range vector, because we don't want all of the arrows to fall with the same speed. So we're going to do minus 2000 and minus 3000. So I want them to rain really fast, because otherwise if it's raining slow it just doesn't look very good. So I want to rain it like minus 2000, minus 3000. Now they are all on the same spot, so obviously you can see like one arrow doesn't look good. Don't worry about that, because we're going to, in a particle spawn, we're going to add one more module, which will be shape location. And on this shape location, that will be sphere. Sphere radius will be 250, which is the rain of arrows range as we set up in the cylinder, the same size as the area, the target area. Okay, so that will be 250. You can also adjust it if you want to have it bigger or smaller and so on. And here we're going to do sphere surface distribution. We're going to set it to 1. So it will distribute the arrows nicely across the sphere. And that will be random. This is fine. What else we're missing? Spawn burst, velocity, shape location, particle state. We can... I don't think we need a drag really. I can remove the drag. Doesn't need to be there. And scale color we don't need because we don't want to scale it. Scale forces, soul forces and velocity, that's it needs to be there. Scaled sprite size by speed we need to delete as well. We don't want to change the arrow size. But then also we need to go to, is it particle spawn? Yeah, particle spawn. Lifetime we will do direct set. It will be only 3 seconds long. So arrows will be falling quite fast and then they will stick to the ground and then live only for 3 seconds, then they will get deleted. And this is what we want to do. We don't want to have them sticking in the ground forever, because we will do some event when this lifetime of this Rain of Arrows Niagara system ends as well. So lifetime is 3. What else we need to do? Sprite size mode. We're going to do uniform, and we want to increase the size of these arrows because it's very small at the moment. So we'll do like 50. And that's pretty much it. Location, I think that's it. So now if I just place this system in a game, place it really high up, so I don't have to simulate, I can play the game and you will still see it. There we go, so the arrows are falling. Since they're not sticking in the ground, you can't really see it very well. But that will be the next part. So now we do have a Niagara system. Let's just spawn it where we need to. So in the ability component, in this spawn rain of arrows event, this is all packed together. Move this down. So in this thing, we want to do when it's fired. Yeah, when it's completed. Probably when it's completed. This montage is very fast, so when it's completed, I'll do delay. Short delay, because he will still be firing the arrow. So it wouldn't look good if the arrows would be already falling during that montage. So what we want to do is do delay, like 0.5 seconds, and then spawn system add location. And this will be rain of arrows. Location, as I said, we need to get this target area reference and get world location. Oh, get actor location. Get actor location. And we need to break it open. So you can either right click or just drag from it and break it. So split and split this location. And X and Y will be the same. But we don't want to spawn it like on the ground, because otherwise you wouldn't be seeing any arrows falling down or like very short distance. So what we want to do is add 500 to the Z. So 5 meters up to this location. And if you compile and save, rain of arrows, that should actually be all. They still don't have any collision or anything, so they will fall through, but at least we should be able to spawn it. So press 1. There we go. And you can see he fires the arrow and then it drops down like a second after, which I think the delay is good. If you want to adjust it so it will be sooner or later, that's up to you. But I think this looks good. He fires and then second later it falls down. Okay, so now for the collision. So this one will be quite complex thing. You can't really find any good documentation how to set this up properly and stuff, so it's kind of like hit and miss, trial and error. But the best way to do is we're just going to set up collision here. So in the particle update, add collision node. Here on the collision, we're going to change this radius calculation to mesh. That's fine. Restitution bounce. We don't want to have any bounce. We don't want arrows to bounce off the ground. So change it to 0. Friction we can leave as it is. Friction during instantaneous impact we'll do 10. So it has some friction, and here friction 1. So when it falls down, or maybe like leave it at 0.2. Don't worry about what's happening here. It's just because it's trying to calculate the collision, and so don't worry about the preview. Here we're going to change it from world dynamic to projectile, because projectile is what we set up for projectiles, so they won't be hitting anything that they're not supposed to. And this one you can leave as it is for the rest of it. So this will actually make our projectiles collide. So now when I press play the game, there we go, they're falling to the ground. And as you can see, as you can't see because this is only 3 seconds long, we can change this just so you can see it in initialize particle to 10 seconds. They're sticking to the ground and they're sticking where your pivot point is. So my tip is halfway through, so it looks really good. So that is working fine. Raining and running. Obviously, if it hits something that is not supposed to, it's not working correctly just yet. But you've got about 40 arrows here. And you can see they're almost hitting all the spots. You can even do more arrows. I think 40 is enough, because they will be generating the line traces and stuff like that as well. So you don't want it to be too performant, too cost on a performance. So what else? Okay, so now we have a collision. Now what we want to do is we want to export the collision data where the actual arrows are hitting. So for that, we need to, in a particle update, we're going to do export particle data to blueprint. And then in this one, we need to tell which blueprint we're going to export it to, and we want to export it to our ability component. So in the user expose variables here in the parameters, we're going to create a new one, and this one will be object. Select the object, and we'll name it ability component. Ability component. You can copy the name, we will need it later, exactly the same. And now we can just select it here in export, and we will have ability component. Here we need to, next to this condition to export, select this, and that will be has collided. So particles has collided. So when the particles collide, we will export this. And then we also want to delay between exports, like 3 seconds, which is the length of this whole Niagara system. If you don't do delay here, basically what will happen, as soon as the arrow hits, it will start exporting data, but it will be exporting it on tick. So it will be exporting 100 times that it's collided and what it collided with. And then obviously we want to spawn a line trace on it as well where it collided. So basically it will kill your game, it will freeze it and stuff. So we need to do delay in between, 3 seconds. And then rest of it will keep velocity and stuff like that as it is. Save it, and now we will set this ability component manually from outside, from where we're actually spawning this. But ability component need to have an interface to actually receive that data. It doesn't just, you know, if you set it just as a variable, it doesn't work. So we need to go to class settings, and in implemented interfaces, we will do Niagara particle callback handler, this one here. And that will create the interface which will be receive particle data. Double click on it, and that will create the event for us that we will use. For now, leave it down here. We need to set that variable, ability component. So where we are spawning the Niagara system, which is here, spawn system at location, we're going to drag from return value, and it's set Niagara variable by string, and we're looking for object. So set Niagara variable by string and object, and name. If you copied it, you can just paste it. Its ability component needs to be exactly the same name as this one here, otherwise it won't find it and set it. And for object, we're going to get reference for self and connect it. So this will set that variable to ability component, and this one in turn will set the particle data to this back to ability component. And then yeah, and now if you just print string, we should be able to receive some particle data. So press 1, rain. There we go. Hello, 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 hello. So all of the arrows that hit the ground gives us this print string because we're receiving particle data. And now what we want to do on this receive particle data is set up the line trace, so we will be hitting the enemies and everything. So we'll do from the data, we can do for each loop with break. And actually, do we need break? Yeah, because this will be sent for each arrow. So we need to stop the break if we hit something already, so it doesn't run again, basically. So for each loop with break, and from here we can do sphere trace by channel. So we're going to spawn little spheres where the arrow is actually hitting, break this open, and position will be start and end. So this is the position where the arrow hit. Radius we need to change to, I'll do 100, because as you could see, not everywhere there is an arrow, so we still want to hit with that ability if someone's in that area, so we'll change it to 100, and here we will trace for enemy. And then we want to do branch. This will be same as other traces. We're going to check if we actually hit something. These actors to ignore, we're going to promote to variable. which will be actors to ignore. Just I'm going to remove the spaces. Actors to ignore. And if we have hit something with the enemy trace, we're going to add that enemy to these actors to ignore, so we don't hit him again with the same trace. Otherwise, if you didn't do this and you would rain down the arrows, you would basically hit the enemy 40 times and then you would kill everything instantly. So actors to ignore, add, out hit, break it open, and this one will be hit actor. And then we want to apply damage to this actor, so we will get owner, get component by class, and this one will be combat component because that's where our function is for applying damage. And we'll call our custom apply damage, connected here, and then for hit result we got hit result hit here, out hit. Damage multiplier will be the ability damage, so I will set it manually here to 1.5 so we don't have to like access data table of the abilities. So this will be damage that this rain of arrows will be causing. Damage causer is the owner, and current stats we need to get from stats component. So copy this component by class, change it to stats component, and get stats. And effects, this is very up to you, but what I'm going to do is I'm not going to connect effects because I don't want this area of effect to cause effects as well on every enemy, because then if I equip my lightning arrow, then it can stun all of the enemies. There is a chance as well, so it doesn't actually need to proc, but I just don't want to have an effect. I don't think that should be the thing on this, but it's really up to preference. If you want to connect effects, you need to get conditions component and connect effects from there. And this is pretty much it. And then we will also go back to break because we have hit something. And we don't need to create like this collision data again. This one too high. All right. Compile and save. Let's test it out. Now if I play the game, again pick up equip bow, set the ability, pick up some arrows, press 1, and let me try to hit this guy. There we go, it froze for a second, but as you can see, it hit him. It even gave us a correct sound of the bow and stuff. I can hit this box. That's working fine as well. I won't be able to hit this guy again because we have not reset actors to ignore. So what we need to do to reset it is we want to reset it when the Niagara system rain of arrows actually ends. So in the ability component, again, find where we're executing it, when we're spawning it. And here before we do this, wait, no, that's not it. That's the target area. This spawn rain of arrows. Here, this one here. From the return value, we're going to bind event on components destroyed. Is it components wake, overlap, sleep? I'm not sure if it's deactivated. I think it was destroyed or deactivated. Let me just quickly check the other project because I don't want to mess it up. It's on system finished actually. So bind event on system finished. So when the Niagara system is done, we will create event, create matching event, and this one will be something like Niagara destroyed. I'll move it there where we're actually calling that event, so later we will know what it's doing. So here, and I'm going to just get actors to ignore, not set, get and clear. So as soon as the system is finished, arrows stopped raining down, we will clear these actors to ignore so we can hit everything again. And that is pretty much it. Compile and save. Obviously, we're not spawning the arrow yet when we're executing this ability. I'm not going to do that in this video because, again, it's super long. So I'll probably do the next one when we finish the like improvements and stuff on this ability, because you can see we could be holding arrow here and then firing it. We're not doing anything like that. But now when you fire it, boom, it's raining down and it hits this enemy. It's hit this thing. I can't move, I can't execute any ability, I can't do right click, nothing else works. I can just fire these arrows and then hit this enemy. This time it was a crit. And if there is more enemies, we'll hit all of them. I will show you what this collision that we set up actually does. Is in the ability component. When we receive this particle data, we spawn in this line trace. I'm going to do debug type for duration. So every arrow that hits the ground spawns little sphere that can hit the enemy. So now I got 3 enemies. Hit them, and you can see there's 3 sphere traces that hit them. But they can't be hit again with the same one. So, wait, hold on. Did I miss? Or... because I set it to 10 seconds, sorry. So, now the Niagara system is 10 seconds, it's supposed to be 3 seconds. So that's why I can't hit anything, because here in Rain of Arrows, I've changed this to 10 seconds just so I can show you the arrows. It's supposed to be 3 seconds. You don't want to have arrows on the ground for too long. And also, the cooldown for ability won't be that short anyway. At least it shouldn't be in your game, but then it's better if you don't generate too many arrows on the ground. And yeah, so this is how you do Rain of Arrows. So as I said, in the next video we'll just do like a finishing touches, and maybe we'll do some other improvements as well, see what needs doing. There is also a thing that if these arrows drop on the hill or something that is steep, they will slide down instead of sticking to it. So we need to fix that as well. So all of that will be done. But yeah, as I said, I love this ability. I think it's great. We also need to prevent like stunning and all this stuff, because you can see I could execute it while stunned. So a few things, but most of it is done. So I'll see you in the next one then. Bye!